Well, good morning, and I think it's a little bit past 9 o'clock. We try to start on time and hopefully finish a little early, but thank you for being here. We appreciate it for a wonderful cause. I want to read a statement, and then I'm going to read a bio, and then we'll ask our inductee to come up and say a few words after I do proclamation also. So I'll just say it's my honor and it's my privilege to welcome you to the 2023 City of Enid Walk of Fame presentation. This event is designed to identify and recognize individuals in and from our community who have demonstrated a lifetime of service to our community, have made an extraordinary contribution, or have performed an act of selflessness and statesmanship for Enid. The candidates are nominated by their peers and selected by the mayor and the city commissioners. The Walk of Fame presentation is also given during the same week we celebrate the Cherokee Strip Days and the birth of our community, which, by the way, turns 130 years old. Without those pioneers who came before us and were willing to suffer the hardships of turning an empty prairie into a growing, robust, and caring community, we would not have this community that we call Enid and we all call home. It was because of those who came before us that had that pioneer spirit, a spirit that didn't give up, a desire to take on and solve challenges that I'm sure seemed insurmountable from time to time, but also recognized that the only way to overcome challenges was by helping others, was by helping your neighbor when they suffered. And it was knowing that when one of them succeeded, that it would make all of us better by their success. I think that spirit still exists in our community today. The reason I believe that is that because of the two individuals we recognize today, Dr. Jerry Blankenship and Jewel J.W. Ridge. I had the privilege of serving on that selection committee this year, and I will attest that Enid is very fortunate to have so many candidates who qualified to receive this award today, but our committee struggled to narrow the inductees down to only two, and I am very pleased with this year's selection. Please allow me to start our induction by reading the bio for Dr. Jerry Blankenship. Dr. Blankenship was born and raised in Frederick, Oklahoma. He developed his leadership skills in school, where he learned the basic skill of teamwork through sports, such as football, basketball, and golf, and boys' state. He graduated from Frederick High School in 1955. He attended the University of Oklahoma as a golf scholar on a golf scholarship, but early on, he knew he wanted to become a doctor, and his studies always took precedence. In 1958, he married Carolyn Morey, also of Frederick, and over 56 years of marriage, they had 3 sons and 9 grandchildren. In 1962, he graduated from the University of Oklahoma Medical School with honors and was recognized as the student with the most ideal doctor-patient relationship. Does that surprise anybody in this room? No. In 1967, he had completed his residency in urology at OU and began his practice here in Enid. During his medical career, he served with distinction on the staff of both Integris Bass and St. Mary's hospitals. He also served as chief of surgery and chief of staff at both hospitals. He was the state president of the Oklahoma Urological Association in 1983 and 1984. In 1992, he was awarded one of the highest recognitions given to a doctor, the Wyeth Arist Laboratory Physicians Award for Community Service. Dr. Blankenship retired from his professional life as a doctor in 2000. To this day, patients and family members of patients say he always made them feel like he had ample time to spend with them. Maybe that partially explains why he was always late for his foursome out at Oakwood. Dr. Blankenship's commitment and service to the Enid community is very impressive. Highlights include serving as the chairman of the Greater Enid Chamber of Commerce in 1988. He was also a member of the Phillips University Board of Trustees for 14 years and was an integral part of the Enid Phillips campaign and the subsequent sales tax campaign in 1987. He was a member of the Enid Development Coalition. Many don't know, but he also served our country in the National Guard. I didn't know that. His contributions of time, energy, and resources to a variety of civic organizations and projects has earned him the respect and admiration of civic and business leaders in Enid. Dr. Blankenship is an elder at the Central Christian Church and has served on the United Way of Enid and Northwest Oklahoma Board of Directors for many years. He has been a board member of the Enid Public School Foundation, the Enid Higher Education Council, and was integral in the fundraising and development of the Cherokee Strip Regional Heritage Center. He is a past president of the Enid High School Tip-In Club and is a long-standing member of the Enid Rotary Club. Dr. Jerry Blankenship exemplarizes the service. Dr. Jerry Blankenship's exemplary service has helped better our community and provide opportunities for others. So that being said, Dr. Blankenship, I'd like, if you would come to the podium, I'd like to read a proclamation, and then I'm going to turn the mic over to you. Is that all right? You want to come up so I can read this to you? Mm-hmm. These proclamations just say a lot of the same things that were in the bio, but we want to read it into our history here in Enid, is why we do these proclamations. Whereas Dr. Jerry Blankenship first displayed his leadership skills in school, where he learned the basic skills of teamwork through sports, and whereas in 1962, he graduated the University of Oklahoma's medical school with honors. By 1967, he had completed his residency in urology at OU and began his own practice here in Enid. And whereas he has served with distinction on the staffs of both Integris Bass Hospital and St. Mary's Hospital. He has served as chief of surgery and chief of staff at both hospitals. And in 1992, he was awarded one of the highest recognitions given to a doctor, the Wythe Arist Laboratory Physicians Award for Community Service. And whereas Dr. Jerry Blankenship's commitment to the Enid community is well known, he served as the chairman of the Greater Enid Chamber of Commerce, a member of the Phillips University Board of Trustees for 14 years, and he was a member of the Enid Development Coalition and served our community in our country in the National Guard. And whereas his contributions of time, energy, and resources to a variety of civic organizations and projects have earned him the respect and admiration of civic and business leaders in Enid. Dr. Jerry Blankenship is an elder at Central Christian Church and has served on the United Way of Enid and Northwest Oklahoma Board of Directors for many years. He has been a board member of the Enid Public School Foundation, the Enid Higher Education Council, and was instrumental in the fundraising and development of the Cherokee Strip Regional Heritage Center. He is the past president of the Enid High School Tip-In Club and is a long-standing member of the Enid Rotary Club. Now, therefore, I, David M. Mason, Mayor of the City of Enid, do hereby award Jerry Blankenship inclusion on the Enid Walk of Fame for 2023. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. This is going to be yours. I'm going to lay it right back here, okay, for you. And then I'm going to, if you will, I'm going to give the mic to you.
Okay. I have a confession to make. A few days after I was informed that I was going to be recognized today, I had a dream, and it went on and on and on and on my remarks that I was going to make today. And I decided that I'd just better write something and read it. And so that's what I'm going to do now. That dream, though, it was mostly autobiographical, and talked a lot in the dream about people and about Carolyn, and people that I will say a word about Carolyn. She was known by so many people here, and she was known by her quick wit and her storytelling. And I won't get into any of that, but she had a lot of self-deprecating stories. They were pretty good. She also had a soft side that not everybody knew about. She was very compassionate. I'll get into the remarks that I thought I would read and keep it brief. When I was told that I was to receive this recognition, I was surprised and very appreciative. I don't want to talk too long, but there are a few things that I would like to say. The first is that I'm very honored and humbled to be included with Jewel Ridge and those who have been recognized previously for the Enid Walk of Fame. Next, a little history. When I finished my residency in 1967, Carolyn and I, along with our sons, John and Ben, moved to Enid to begin my private practice. That was one of the best decisions we ever made. There was a lot to like about Enid, and they did need a urologist. I was very busy for about 3 years in solo practice. Matt was born in 1975. Enid has been very good for our family in so many ways. In the 1970s, when I was joined by partners, it became feasible for me to be more involved in the community. Like any community, there have been needs and issues that needed to be addressed. There also have been many opportunities to help build and create. In every decade, including that of the pioneers in 1893, there have been outstanding leaders, unsung heroes, and common people who have made a great difference in the quality of life, growth, and well-being of Enid. If I were to attempt to make a list of those men and women, it would be a very long list, and the list would continue to get longer every year. Every effort and project in which I've been involved has been a team effort. In this community, there have been and continue to be many generous people, generous with their time and talent, generous with their energy and enthusiasm, and generous with their financial support. I won't get into any specifics now, but I will say it has been a real privilege for me to work with so many good people on worthwhile causes. Again, I am very honored and humbled to receive this recognition today. Thank you very much.
I'm so proud of you. I'm going to give you this.
Okay.
I've got this one.
Thank you very much.
You got it? Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Blankenship. Our second inductee is Jewel William W. Ridge. He was born in born August 11th, 1922, and passed June the 5th, 2008. I'd like to read his bio, and then I'm going to ask his daughter Cindy to come up, and I will give her a proclamation. J.W. Ridge joined the Army during World War II and served in the North African and the Italian war campaigns. When the war ended, he joined the Oklahoma National Guard 45th Division and was soon mobilized to Japan as part of the occupying force, and then entered the Korean conflict until that conflict ended. He retired from the Oklahoma National Guard after 20 years of service with the rank of major. J.W. and his wife, Mary, moved to Enid in 1949 and began their teaching careers. He taught at Enid High School, teaching mechanical drawing and distributive education. He was a sponsor of the photography club and coached track. He was also involved in the Parks and Recreation Association, teaching youth sports such as archery, but also making sure that all the youth in the summer programs learned to be good citizens and leaders among their peers. He was a member of the Oklahoma Education Association, as well as the National Education Association, ensuring that Enid and the state of Oklahoma had a voice in future education. He was also a strong community leader, serving as president of the trustees of the First United Methodist Church, and he was a member of the Enid Noon Lions Club. His most notable contribution was as the founder and creator of the vocational technical education for Enid in the state of Oklahoma. That journey of vocational education began while serving in the Korean conflict with his commanding officer, General O.T. Autry, who was also a teacher in the Enid school system. While in a foxhole with General Autry, he discussed his concept of an alternate educational program. His vision was to offer vocational and technical training to students that would provide them a set of skills to meet their occupational needs. In 1964, J.W. became the principal of Waller Junior High. It was during that time that he started developing his vision of the curriculum and prepared a proposal to move his concept for vocational education forward. He worked with Senator Norman Lamb to take the plan through the Oklahoma State Legislature for funding. Next came the building design, and since J.W. was a skilled draftsman, he drew the plans for the original building, which was considered at the time to be state-of-the-art. In 1965, the groundbreaking began, and his vision came to fruition in 1966 when the first vocational and technical center opened. It was recommended that the new center be named the Jewel Ridge Vocational and Technical Center, but he declined and requested it be named after O.T. Autry, who at that time was still the superintendent of schools here in Enid. J.W. Ridge became the first superintendent of O.T. Autry Vocational and Technical Center and remained there until his retirement in 1986. Many of the programs he developed are still being taught, not just at Autry Technology Center, but throughout the entire vocational technology system. J.W. developed the arch that frames the entrance, the big arch that you see. It was to symbolize that all who entered will receive an education in their chosen field. All of this was due to one man who had a vision, J.W. Ridge. So Cindy, if you would come up. This is Cindy Brawley, the daughter of
Yes.
Jewel Ridge.
One
Of the daughters,
The
I'm
other
sorry.
one's right there.
One of the daughters. Let me read this proclamation, and then I will turn the microphone over to you. Whereas Jewel William J.W. Ridge served in the Enid community from 1949 to 1988, he graduated from Southeastern Oklahoma State University with a Bachelor of Science in Education degree and obtained his Master's of Education from Phillips University. And whereas Jewel joined the Army during World War II and served in the infantry in North Africa and in the Italian campaigns. When the war ended, he joined the Oklahoma National Guard 45th Artillery Division, and whereas he was best known for being the founder of O.T. Autry Vocational and Technological School for Enid, which was completed in 1966 and is still open and operating today, and whereas he was foremost a community leader and was a member of the Oklahoma educational system and the national education system. Additionally, he was a member of the Masonic Lodge 80 and was a 32nd degree Mason. And now, therefore, I, David M. Mason, Mayor of the City of Enid, do hereby award posthumously to the family of Jewel Ridge inclusion on the Enid Walk of Fame for 2023.
Thank you.
So, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Well, first we must say congratulations to Dr. Blankenship on his honor today. It is he has been an outstanding man and a true patriot of Enid and supporter of the Enid community. And thank you, Mayor Mason, for being supporting Enid in the way that our founders, the men and women who have stayed with Enid all of their lives and helped it to grow, and that you're going to continue on their service. Also want to thank the City of Enid and the council that made the selection, because there were two very outstanding men chosen this year. All of the ones on the Walk of Fame were outstanding in their way. This year, I think, is exemplary. So congratulations to you, Dr. Blankenship. I am one of the daughters. I'm the youngest. I have a sister, Patricia, who's in the audience with her husband, and my oldest sister, Lynn, could not attend today, but her husband, Bill, is present for her. There's grandson and great-grandchildren and my husband who are in attendance today, who depicts why our father did what he did. As my sister was expressing to me earlier this week, that our father was of service. He was of service to his family. He was of service to the military, to his country. He was of service to education. His vision was to ensure that every student got an opportunity, regardless of what they could afford or what their interests were, that there was something someone could do, and he wanted to reach all of them. So he, as it was stated in the bio, he and O.T. Autry, while they're in the foxholes, were brainstorming. Dad had this vision. He wasn't going to let it go like a dog with a bone. He said, this is for those students who do not desire to be just dropped out, after they graduate from high school and just left to whatever job they could get. He wanted them to have an opportunity to learn a skill, a lifetime career in development. So we were we were in the forefront of that as children, watching him go through all the machinations that he had to go through to develop the program, the building, who he had to bring in to make sure this vision happened for Enid. What was also included, that after the VOTEC was built, then the world started reaching out. Hate to say it, but China was one of them. They wanted to know, how do you do this? Because they were very interested in education at the time. China was not quite the China we know today. We also had England, the Raleigh bicycle plant, who was in England, came here to work with what can VOTEC do to help us manufacture these bicycles. So they worked with Dad. He traveled the country, looking at other VOTEC vocational education centers and learning from them as well as they were learning from him. If he were here today, he would be very humbled. He was not a man, as evidenced. He did not want the school named after him. He wanted to be in the shadows because his mission was education to the student. There's one particular student that I'm sure you all have heard. He has a business here in Enid, it's Continental Resources, which is an oil firm. And the head of that and the founder of that and the owner of that is Harold Hamm. Well, when Dad was a distributive education teacher at Enid High School in the early 60s, Harold Hamm was one of his students. And as the story is told, he was given an assignment like all of the other students, and it was to find out what interests you and then write a paper about it. So Mr. Hamm, he wrote his paper and he turned it into Dad, and Dad said, I will not accept this paper. You can do better than this. So he sent Harold out to research what his interest was oil. How does that interest you, and what about it interests you? And write about that. He brought the paper back, and Dad gave him an A. And he said, this is the kind of man you are. Harold has published a book called Game Changer, and he's out on his book tour right now, and you will find his paper at some part of this book, if you ever so interested. But on page, it's an interesting read, on page 29, Harold writes this: coincidentally, a school project was assigned to my distributive education DE class instructor that same month, requiring us to write a paper about any business or career we found interesting. I chose the topic of oil. It must have been destiny. I've always considered my DE instructor, Jewel Ridge, to be the inspiration. In addition to being a veteran, he was one of the developers of Oklahoma's vocational technology educational system known as VOTEC, the best of its kind in the country. This was what Dad's vision was. It was to find that spark in every student he touched so they could go out and be the best man they could be, the best woman they could be, the best family partner and community leader. And our family is deeply honored that he has been given this tremendous honor. So thank all of you. I didn't think I would cry, but it's an emotional time. So thanks to all of you. And we thank you, Mayor Mason.
Thank you so much. Okay. We are a very fortunate community, I think. I was just telling some guys over here before we started that we have a deep pool of candidates that can qualify for this. That's why Enid is what Enid is today. And so we're very fortunate. We're very proud of both of our inductees. We'd like to ask everyone now to kind of get up, make your way out into the hall. I think we're going to unveil those plaques. So if you'll make your way this way, we'll do that.